You don't think dancing takes some game?
You got game?
And I swear there's like a million of these fan fictions written about Chad and Ryan. When was this one written? Chad hated the filthy, entitled smirk of the Evans boy. Hey everyone, it's Casey. High School Musical 2, released in 2007. It was a huge deal when it released because the first movie was so popular and it was an event. I was 10 years old. I had my sister and all of our friends. We had a sleepover, snacks. I loved the movie. I loved all the music. I think a lot of people are nostalgic for this movie. Personally, I think that we might be clouded by nostalgia just a little bit. Why did I have issues with this movie? Let's find out. This movie is an immediate continuation from the first film, and it takes place this summer after High School Musical 1. I already made a video about High School Musical 1, which I'll leave in the description below, so I'm not going to overly explain the characters again. But it's the last day of school, and as the clock starts counting down, Miss Darbish, she's going over this tangent, and as the countdown begins, the clock gets bigger and bigger. Everyone starts chanting, "Summer."
All the roles in the entire season.
And they throw all their papers in the air. They always do this in coming of age movies, and I always think about the minimum wage janitor that has to pick everything up. Chad sexually assaults Miss Darbus. Everyone's dancing around. Also, for whatever reason, wardrobe has again put Chad in these ridiculously stupid t-shirts with weird sayings. This one says, "I majored in vacation." What a choice that was. This song is just about everyone being excited for summer. The choreography was top notch. I don't think they'll ever get an F in this department because it's always so good. Setting up the plot, Troy is talking to his buddies about how he has to work over the summer to save up for college because next year is their senior year of high school.
Summer I gotta make bank. My parents keep talking about how much college is gonna cost.
Sharpay is kind of meaner in this movie, and Gabriella has a lot more confidence. Sharpay assumes that Gabriella is going away after the summer since she's always switched schools every year, but Gabriella assures her that she's staying until graduation. And just a reminder that Sharpay is openly into Troy and sees Gabriella as a consistent threat. Martha, the girl in the middle, she was given more of a C-list role in this movie. She was only on screen for a few minutes in the first movie, but it was so impactful.
Love to pop and lock and jam and break.
But she just kind of follows everyone around. She doesn't really do anything. All of the teens, by the way, are talking about how they need to find a job over the summer, including Gabriella, and she goes over to Troy to express her concerns to him. And Troy's like, everything's cool as long as we're together.
Whatever happens, as long as we're together, it's cool, right?
And he gives her a promise necklace. It has a big T on it for Troy. They're having this romantic moment, and this dweeb asks for Troy's autograph. Like, he straight up shoves his yearbook in Troy's face.
There you go, boss.
Must be so hard being famous at East High.
We could go to the movies, download music. Oh, and I'm definitely teaching you a twisted flip on the skateboard.
Download music? Is that what the boomer who wrote this thought teens gathered around and did in 2007? Yeah, guys, let's all hang out together and download some sweet tunes on LimeWire. Together. Sharpay talks to Ryan about her plan for the summer, which is to seduce Troy so they can rule the school together next year. Ryan also gets slowly more annoyed with Sharpay's self-absorbed agenda, which becomes a plot point later on in the movie. We cut over to the Bolton household where Troy and his buddies are hanging out in the kitchen talking about the job hunt, because I guess they all can't find jobs.
So guys, how's the job hunt coming?
The big zero.
Even though it's been 5 minutes. When all of a sudden, Troy gets a call from Lava Springs Country Club, and they ask him if he wants a job. No interview or anything, he just gets a job. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great, but can you hire my girlfriend?
Here's the thing. I know the most amazing girl.
And I gotta say, as someone who worked professionally in hiring for many years, that request is so accurate coming from a high schooler. Then when Dad and his friends ask about it, he just refuses to tell them what he was on the phone for, which I felt was kind of unnecessary. Troy doesn't know that the country club he took a job offer with is owned by Sharpay and Ryan's family. So the whole job offer thing was a setup by Sharpay so she could be close with him this summer. This movie really highlights Sharpay and Ryan's wealth way more than the first one ever did. I hated this trend though of popping your collars. I know there's been a lot of like early 2000s trends that have been resurfacing lately, but I think we just need to like leave this one in the past. It's so bad. The country club also has a talent show every year, which Sharpay always wins. It wouldn't be a High School Musical movie if we didn't have a big show at the end. Her and Ryan always win, but Sharpay just tells Ryan what to do all the time. He never gets to, you know, make any decisions himself. We briefly get introduced to Sharpay's friends who we've never seen before, and they play a very little role in this movie, which then transitions us into the next song, which is called Fabulous.
Iced tea imported from England. Lifeguards imported.
I can appreciate how C-word the song is, but I'm sorry, I just found it really annoying. But then she sees all of Troy's friends show up with him, including Gabriella. That wasn't part of the plan. Today, Chad's shirt says, "Warning, do not read this shirt." He is the only one that wears these stupid shirts. I don't understand. Overwhelmed by a lack of control, Sharpay falls into the pool. And Gabriella, being the new lifeguard, she rushes in to go save her. And when I tell you that the production team did not make any attempt at hiding her body double, I'm not exaggerating. That is a 32-year-old woman. They could have maybe filmed her from the back or like from the side a little bit. They literally film her straight on. Sharpay starts freaking out, and really quick, I just want to highlight Troy's eyes in the rest of the film. So I don't know if they gave him colored contacts or if they bumped up the vibrance in editing, but production was like, we need to make Troy's eyes blue. Sharpay is fuming and she demands an explanation from the country club manager, Mr. Bolton, because she arranged this deal with him. And he elaborates that she said to do whatever it takes to hire Troy. And of course, Troy refused to work there if they didn't hire all of his wildcat friends. He's the team captain, of course. Sharpay runs over to yell at her mom, who was in the middle of yoga. This woman has to be high. I don't know if she took a Xanax or if she hit a doobie, but she's always unfazed anytime I see her in this movie.
Mother, did you hear what I just said?
So Sharpay decides to tell Mr. Fulton to just make Troy's friends miserable so that they all want to quit. And how is he going to do that? By setting realistic work expectations. Let me explain. So seemingly all of the teens thought that they would just be able to go to this country club and just goof off all summer. Mr. Fulton is like, yeah, you'll probably be asked to flex into several different positions over the summer, like serving food or being a golf caddy. Chad is shocked.
And, when needed, caddies.
What?
He majored in vacation, not working. He tells Taylor that she should manage member activities since she's organized. She doesn't like that for some reason. He goes up to Kelsey, who's supposed to be playing piano for the guests, but she's like eating an ice cream sundae, so he tells her to go do her job. Gabriella comes running up 3 minutes early for her lunch, and he tells everyone that they have to clock in and out on time. I mean, is he being a hard ass? Yeah. But it's like they all expected to just go to summer camp. The next song they go into is about getting through their terrible jobs together as a team. There's this constant theme in this movie where the teens take a regular situation and be extremely dramatic about it in song, which I guess is kind of like the first one. But throughout the song, it sounds like they're all annoyed with Troy for getting them all the job in the first place.
Got rags instead of riches.
And all these dirty dishes. Just wish I had 3 wishes.
I mean, they could be working at a McDonald's. I don't know why they're so upset. Like, weren't they just begging for a job a minute ago? Let's start banging on all the pots and pans. They're doing everything except working. I just imagine someone walking in and screaming at them.
Shut up!
Go where? Where are we going, Zach? Troy and Gabriella are having a picnic on the golf course, and Troy is talking about how stressed he is about paying for college. And you know, he could probably get a bunch of scholarships, but he's worried because they're not guaranteed. So even though he's really good at basketball, he like doesn't know if he'll get the scholarship. Gabriella though, she like doesn't want to think about any of that. She just wants to have fun and make it the best summer ever.
So let's just think about right now. I want to remember this summer, Troy.
She's just there for the vibes. Meanwhile, Sharpay is jealous and she calls maintenance to turn on the sprinklers. But to her surprise, they just start dancing around.
You are gonna get so wet!
Sharpay isn't fazed though, because she says she has a plan. And then she just vanishes.
Remember?
First, a break time infraction.
I don't know why I found that so funny. Oh, and Mr. Fulton berates them for being on the golf course because it's only for guests. They're gonna do that a lot in this movie. The next morning, Troy and Gabriella clock in and hear Kelsey playing some music. And Kelsey says that she wrote a song for Troy and Gabriella for the Country Club talent show because apparently all the employees are allowed to perform, which I was just confused about because aren't they gonna have to serve at the event? I'll come back to that, but Troy immediately is like, no, sorry, I don't wanna sing, I'm just here to work. But then Kelsey plays the song and they all just start jamming out. Almost like they didn't just clock in for their shift. Everyone else, they join right in. Fuck the kitchen, it's music time. If I was working there and was not part of this group, I would hate all of them. Imagine you're in the middle of cooking breakfast for guests and a third of the staff just runs out to start jamming. Fucking theater kids. Remember those god-awful teenagers who were all in the School Musical and in any public setting, they would just start randomly singing some stupid song? As if the strangers passing by signed up to watch a great value Glee performance at the mall. It was me. I was in that friend group, and one day I'll answer to my sins. Meanwhile, Ryan overhears Kelsey's song and reports to Sharpay about Troy and Gabriella singing in the talent show, because apparently she didn't see that coming. And his concern is that they're going to steal the spotlight, just like at the musical.
With Gabriella, then our whole show is going to be the Troy and Gabriella show.
But Sharpay has other plans. She gets Mr. Fulton to pull Chad and Troy to go be golf caddies during her family's golf session. Mr. Evans arrives via helicopter, so obviously he's like Jeff Bezos level rich. He also gives subtle hints that he's just disappointed about how his not officially gay son turned out.
You've been working out.
Yoga.
Bring that around. There you go.
Mom absolutely shreds the golf course. I also still think she's high. And this game of golf just ends up being the Evans family doing absolutely terrible, but they're just cheating.
Backboard.
Yes! It's kind of chaotic because they like pretend like they're doing really good. You know what I mean? Troy plays a little golf and it impresses Mr. Evans because he's like jack of all trades. He can play any sport. And Sharpay is really working her dad to give Troy some better opportunities, like a better job and a college scholarship. Chad gives Sharpay the stink eye after she mentions any kind of opportunities for Troy. Like, I get Sharpay has ulterior motives, but it's almost like he's mad at the possibility of his best friend getting opportunities from her dad, which happens immediately when they get back in the kitchen because Mr. Fulton tells Troy that he's been invited to dinner with the Evans family. Troy is extremely uncomfortable, by the way, because all of his friends are in the kitchen while he's being served at the dinner table and getting paid for it. Mr. Evans specifically wants to talk about Troy's future. So, I mean, this is kind of a big deal because this guy, he has a lot of money. Like, I don't want to say fuck your friends, but like, fuck your friends, you know what I mean? And anytime they bring up him winning a basketball game, Troy immediately credits his team, you know, because that's what humble kings do.
That last second shot at the buzzer,
Outstanding. Actually, my teammates here stole the ball. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a chance.
But then when Sharpay points out that he was voted MVP of the season, Chad literally rolls his eyes.
You're voted MVP for the entire season. This year.
It's true though, Chad. He was voted MVP. What's your problem? Then Mr. Evans starts talking about scholarships. Sharpay also kind of changes the subject and brings up that Troy can sing really well. She kind of puts him on the spot and pressures him to promise her to like sing with her later or something.
But you will sing some other time though. With me. Promise?
And I mean, Daddy Musical Bucks is sitting right there, so what is he gonna say? No, I'm not gonna sing with your daughter. No, she's annoying. No, she's up my ass all the time. But the whole time he was sitting there, he just like wanted to leave because I guess he had a last minute date with Gabriella. Gabriella also, she's super chill about it. She doesn't have a care in the world because again, she just wants this to be the best summer ever. She's like, it's okay, boo, you come when you're ready. He runs to go change and Taylor shows up. My favorite person. Taylor loves to provide unsolicited advice before acknowledging any kind of context of the situation. Gabriella even says that it wasn't an official date. They probably just said, hey, let's hang out after work. And then that last minute dinner came up. The one with Daddy Musical Bucks who could probably pay for his entire college.
It wasn't an official date type of thing.
Rule number 3, all dates are official.
When Troy goes to clock out, Mr. Fulton tells him that he's not done working and he has to go follow him. So he takes him to this dark area in the country club and tells him to sit down. which is really ominous. And we quickly realize that Sharpay just wanted to force him to watch this insufferable performance of her and Ryan singing this Hawaiian song. I just want to know why he doesn't just get up to leave. Like, what is she gonna do? Fire him? He shows up late again to hang out with Gabriella, but he doesn't bring up the fact that he was held against his will to watch some stupid show. So she probably thinks he was actually blowing her off. That would be the first thing I would bring up. I would walk in and be like, you will never believe the horse shit I just witnessed. They're swimming around and then they get caught by Mr. Fulton for using guest facilities again. Over at home, Troy and Dad are talking about the dinner he was at. And I think the only person who gives Troy good advice is his dad. He basically tells him that it's great to have friends, but at a certain point, everyone is going to go into a different direction after high school. And more specifically, that not everyone is going to get the same opportunities, and that he shouldn't just limit himself to being a wildcat.
But everybody's got their own future.
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
But you're not gonna be a wildcat forever.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I didn't get my friends jobs at the club so they could...
And prepare for this advice to be completely ignored by the end of the film. At work, Troy is trying to make plans with his girl, and Sharpay is, again, up his ass. Troy, by the way, is late, but instead of getting grilled for it, Mr. Fulton promotes him to a salary job making $500 a week plus tips teaching kids golf. He also gets to use all the guest facilities. He gets some designer clothes, a locker, and a golf cart. These kids that Troy is teaching are completely psychotic. Like this kid right here is chucking golf balls across the course. This one is mad at the ball for some reason. And it turns out that Troy has a private session booked with none other than Sharpay. She starts talking again about the singing promise that Troy made, and Troy says that he doesn't feel entirely comfortable. That is until he finds out that the scholarship people are gonna be there. And Troy is just really against the idea of singing with her.
But singing with you isn't a part of my job.
I know. Just something you promised to do. Remember?
In the High School Musical universe, for whatever reason, singing with another person is almost the equivalent of cheating. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know why Troy couldn't just explain to Gabriella that he has to play up Sharpay for her family's money. All he has to do is sing one song with Sharpay, and then his college is paid. People have done way worse for money. Taylor sees Sharpay and Troy, and as soon as I saw her, I knew this asshole was gonna stir the pot. So Troy is showing Sharpay how to swing a golf club. Gabriella, Chad, and Taylor are all watching. Gabriella mentions that Troy can handle himself, but Taylor insinuates that there's something between Sharpay and Troy.
She's basically offering him a college education just to sing with her in the talent show.
Troy would never do that.
Actually, tell me what's wrong with that. And they just continue to get into Gabriella's head just like they did in the first movie, which I'm like, are we really doing this again? And it turns out Sharpay is actually really good at golf. This is not surprising. Mr. Fulton introduces Troy to some basketball players from the school that he wants to go to, and they invite him to go play basketball with him. He's talking to them about sports while they're having lunch, and Chad brings Troy a cheeseburger that he ordered. I guess they brought him a burger with the wrong cheese or something. So Troy sends it back, and Chad absolutely loses his mind.
I ordered Swiss on my burger. So go ahead and check it out, man. Try it.
Swiss cheese? Are you out of your mind? I just love how this was the breaking point for him. Chad comes storming into the kitchen and he completely overreacts. He says that Troy's completely changed, that he doesn't recognize anything about him, and he doesn't elaborate why. So Gabriella is probably sitting there assuming that something actually concerning happened. Like, I could see if maybe Troy embarrassed his friends or actually acted like a jerk, that it would warrant this kind of reaction, but his biggest crime was not saying please. He just asked for Swiss cheese. Meanwhile, Sharpay is demanding that Kelsey hands over the song that she wrote for Troy and Gabriella so that she could sing it with Troy instead.
What about our song? What about Humu Humu?
Changing plans.
What am I supposed to do with my Tiki Warrior outfit?
At this point, Ryan is slowly starting to get tired of Sharpay being mean to everybody. She, for whatever reason, thinks that if her and Troy sing at the talent show, then the rest of the Wildcats won't perform, which makes very little sense to me. Troy tells Gabriella about the basketball thing and tells her that he'll pick her up afterwards to go see a movie. And she says that everyone's playing baseball afterwards. I guess this was like a pre-planned event that they had. And of course, he forgot about that too.
And we've got this top baseball game after work. Remember, you promised that you'd play?
Right.
And his lunch date with his girlfriend. So it's just kind of piling up at this point. Could he maybe have handled his plans differently? Yeah. But I also feel like it's not that huge of a deal. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't seem like new stuff. Seems like a new Troy.
And there it is, everyone. She has officially been manipulated by Taylor and Chad again. Oh, and Troy's Italian shoes are brought up way too much in this movie.
Italian golf shoes.
Italian golf shoes.
You like the shoes? They're Italian.
Nice.
The college guys from earlier pick up Troy, and Chad and the guys show up, and they're all in a great mood. They even say, hey, ask them if they want to shoot some hoops with us too.
Why don't you tell him to come over here and mix it up? We'll show him some game.
Ask if we can come. But Troy says it's a closed practice. You know, because he was invited, and Chad loses his shit.
I know, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Come on, Zeke, that was so yesterday. When we were all on a team. Hey, Bolton, that's my ball.
Just want to give all of you a friendly reminder that Troy is the one who got everyone a job working at the country club. And none of this would have happened if it weren't for Troy. But the minute Troy gets something that they can't have, now it's Troy has changed Italian golf shoes. I'm gonna shit my pants. Shut up. Viva la shut up. I majored in shut the fuck up, Chad. Gabriella invites Ryan to the baseball game they're all playing in, and nothing prepared me for what was about to happen. So Gabriella kind of volunteers Ryan to put together a number for all of them to do the talent show. I'm just gonna come out of the floodgates and say that someone desperately wanted Ryan and Chad to be intimate. I actually know I am in fact the last person on earth to point this out, but the tension is way too high.
If you want to play ball, then grab a mitt. I don't dance.
You don't think dancing takes some game?
You got game?
Like, I'm sorry, am I interrupting something? So I Googled Chad and Ryan fan fiction, and I swear there's like 1 million of these fan fictions written about Chad and Ryan. When was this one written? Oh my God. This one was literally written 2 weeks ago. Chad hated the filthy, entitled smirk of the Evans boy, which is somehow the reason they kept finding themselves naked. I have to skip over a lot of that? Okay. They grown out of that and come the... What the... So they sing this catchy song where Ryan is saying that baseball and dancing are basically the same, which is objectively false, but whatever.
I'm not saying I'm gonna dance at the show, but if I did, what would you have me do?
Why does he smirk and not even respond? And then after the song, Ryan and Chad switch clothes. I'm sorry, what? Oh, also, when Troy comes back from the college, he runs into Gabriella and Ryan hanging out, and he gets jealous?
Her mom makes the best brownies in the entire world.
Yeah, I know. I've had them.
Troy, are you jealous of Ryan? Even as a kid, I was confused about this because I thought it was just universally known that Ryan was gay. Troy goes into the kitchen and his friends aren't even focused on Troy not being available to hang out. They don't even care that he wasn't at the baseball game. They're mad at Troy because he didn't ask them if the Wildcats wanted to play with the Red Hawks too. And Chad is not even hiding his jealousy at this point.
Did you even ask to include us? Captain?
Like that holds any merit outside of school.
You had a speck of dirt on your pants and someone dry cleaned you.
You wouldn't do the same thing.
If I was as good as you.
I did not say that.
You didn't have to.
Chad, can you do me a favor and stop being a whiny little bitch? Can you just maybe accept that sometimes life isn't fair? It's not about Troy being better or more deserving. He doesn't deserve anything more than you do. Sharpay's family is rich, and she's trying to buy Troy's attention. Find a rich girl that wants to date you. I don't know what your problem is. I still fail to understand what everyone's whining about. Sharpay also pulls Troy aside to sing a different version of the song that Kelsey wrote. And just like in the first movie, her version is better.
You know the word once upon a time to listen. There's a
It just is. I don't know what else to say. Troy is playing basketball outside when he notices some music playing in the background. And to his surprise, all of his friends have this entire number choreographed for the show. And today, Chad's shirt says, "My mom thinks I'm rad." Troy sees Ryan hugging Gabriella, and then he sees Ryan kissing her hand, which is like the gayest way you can kiss somebody. And I'm sorry, again, are we supposed to be fooled into thinking this means anything? Also, Sharpay is pissed off because she thinks she's gonna lose the Star Dazzle award to a bunch of dishwashers.
Do you want us to lose the Star Dazzle award to a bunch of dishwashers?
I just don't know how she didn't see this coming.
Give me a beat.
She a baddie, she my friend, she my ride or die for the whole weekend. We gon' hit the town, paint the whole thing red.
So Sharpay decides that the only way to stop the Wildcats from beating her is to demand that employees are not allowed to perform at the talent show. Which, as mean as that is, I'm really surprised that wasn't a rule to begin with, because they're not allowed to use guest facilities, so why would they be allowed to be in the talent show? Also, they have to work. Mr. Fulton breaks the news to Taylor, and when she comes into the kitchen to tell everyone, not a single person is working. I know those employees in the back hate all of the Wildcats, but of course everyone is so upset about this. They made this beautiful number that they can't perform because they have to work for money. Super embarrassing for Sharpay though. Why not just beat them? You have to disqualify them? Not very star dazzle of you. You want to talk about Gabriella though? She is pissed. Done.
What you say? Lazy you better choose your words wisely.
I'm done here. But you better step away from the mirror long enough to check the damage that will always be right behind you.
Yes, girl, tell it. Throw her ass in the pool. Steal her social security number. Burn her house down. I'm here. Troy comes running up to her, and Gabriella's just had it. She sings this song, and look, I know I've been Team Troy this entire movie, and I still think he's been given way too hard of a time, but Homegirl tells it like it is right here. This song, I've got to go my own way. I've got to do what Gabriella wants to do. Okay, she said period. She said no talent show, no Gabriella. You can take that stupid necklace back with a stupid T. My necklace says G. It's toxic, but it's also her moment. And I give it a pass. And this is such a teenager reason to break up with someone. And Troy is just having an absolute crisis. He's lost his girl, his friends hate him, and dad is like, literally what's the problem? And that's my question. And he ends up telling Troy that he will figure out what's best for him. Whatever. And upon arriving to work, everyone again is treating him like crap. But Troy didn't even know about the talent show fiasco. And boy, this really lit a fire under Troy. I mean, he is mad. And they really crossed the line this time. And I think that this song was probably the most out-of-pocket number they put in this movie. Why is he being so dramatic?
Is my plan. Will I find what I lost? You know you can't bet.
Like, it feels like he's going out into battle. He's like fast walking across the golf course. He starts constantly flailing his arms around like some kind of baboon. And there's this part in the song where he looks into a pond and they show the most poorly edited reflection I've ever seen in my life. There was no excuse for that. Like, just don't even have it in there. So what does Troy do? He does something so absolutely bold, something that completely matches the energy from that song. He refuses to sing in the talent show. He also demands his old kitchen job back so he could be with his friends, which means he has to work during the talent show. Guess she didn't see that one coming either.
Troy, this could change your life.
I'm more interested about what my friends think of me.
And this is exactly why I don't like this movie that much, because this has to be the worst lesson you could teach anyone, let alone the target audience of this film. Let's throw any and all opportunities at having a successful life if it doesn't involve your friends. Now that Sharpay can't sing with Troy, she assumes Ryan is going to sing with her, but to her surprise, he tells her to enjoy her pineapple on her own.
Enjoy your pineapple on your own.
Troy comes face to face with his shitty friends, and now that he's made sure that he doesn't get a scholarship that night, everything's fine all of a sudden. Like, again, that's all it was about. Everyone just wanted to see Troy stoop to their level.
Fun. At least I have.
You gotta see these two play baseball.
Yeah, Chad, baseball. Ryan makes a suggestion that Troy still sings with Sharpay because Troy made a promise to Sharpay, so he comes up to Sharpay who's having a complete meltdown because she's all alone. Troy tells her that he'll sing with her, and this is kind of a character arc moment for Sharpay because she realizes the importance of working as a team instead of being selfish. And of course, classic Troy, his only caveat is that if he performs, then the Wildcats need to perform because he's team captain. That's what team captains do. I guess she realizes that Troy is never gonna like her. And Troy gets on the stage to sing with Sharpay, and he's expecting Sharpay to walk onto the stage during her verse. But surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise!
So I guess Gabriella's over it. It's literally the next day. So dramatic. At a certain point in the song, everyone gets up on the stage, including Sharpay. So everyone's all friends now. Ryan wins the Star Dazzle award, and they all release lanterns in the sky. And apparently he did it. Who did, Chad? Did what? Is it a religious shirt? Is it a gay shirt? I have so many questions about this shirt. Also, what is Miley Cyrus doing there? She's in a second during this number, and her character name is literally Girl at Pool. And it's not like this was filmed at a soundstage in Los Angeles. This was filmed on location in New Mexico. So like, why is she there? Because this was peak Hannah Montana times. So I know she was busy. It's not that I hate it, I just don't love it. I think it's kind of overrated. I think the movie was cute, but I don't personally think that it deserves to sit on some kind of Disney throne. And this one got a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes than the first one, and I just don't agree with that. Because I think the first one was actually good. My main gripe with the movie is that the conflict of the film is resolved by Troy going against his dad's advice and throwing away all of his opportunities to please his friends. And also, all of his friends are ungrateful. He got them all summer jobs they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. When it comes to Sharpay's character, more specifically, I feel like there was a real moment where Sharpay kind of realized that she was all alone at the end because of her actions. And there was one line that kind of humanized her.
I just sort of wish you were doing this for me.
When her personality doesn't attract Troy, when she tries to use her family's money, she tries to entice him with a cool job and opportunities that could actually change his life. But when she realizes that it will never be enough because it's not about any of that, she just breaks. And I just wish we saw more of that, because up until this point, she was extremely two-dimensional. And I like complex villains, personally. It's bring me this, I want that, and that's fine to villainize a children's character, make it easy for children to understand, but I would have liked to see a real moment where she is all alone. I would have liked to see a really emotional solo song where she sings without that Sharpay accent. When it comes to Martha, I don't know why Martha wasn't deemed good enough to be in the official ensemble, because she's so animated, she's so funny. I feel like there was a lot to work with. And while she was obviously given more screen time than the first one, she just kind of blends into the background. They don't really give her anything to do. So that was High School Musical 2. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.